Welcome to Two Italian Women
and the stories they tell
with Erica Martin
and Diane Bovalino.
And today, our lovely guest star, and she really is lovely. Her name is Stacey Piedrahita. I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. And is she lovely or what? So,
yes, she's beautiful.
Stacey comes to us today. She was an RN in her first life, we could say. She has had near-death experience that became really transformative. She is a best-selling author. She is a spiritual coach. She focuses primarily on meditation, though she's had a long history in doing Reiki. And we've had the most pleasant chat with her as we were preparing for today. And what struck my heartstrings, Stacey, is how passionate you are about mental health and truly understanding how trauma drives the bus on so many things. And so you're a plethora of information. That was a very long introduction, but wherever you want to begin today, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Happy to be here. And yes, I'm extraordinarily passionate about trauma and mental health. Yeah.
I mean, when we were talking, like how difficult it is to navigate the system, to get access to real resources or people that really understand, like that dual diagnosis, having, mental health and substance abuse history, which obviously go together like peanut butter and jelly when you're dealing with trauma.
Yeah, they do. They do. I don't understand. And for me, probably ever since my NDE, my eyes were truly opened for the first time growing up with a mom who was bipolar, in and out of psych hospitals. I did not understand. I couldn't understand. I ran from crazy all my life. And it wasn't until I had my NDE that I could truly walk in her shoes. And it's almost like the minute that happened, my heart chakra opened up and I saw her with brand new eyes. I didn't speak to her for 45 years pretty much. And it changed everything. So trauma to me, I saw everything so differently,
Yeah, and in the last year, you said you really started speaking more openly about your NDE or near-death experience for people who don't know. Anything you want to share on that today?
So understand, as a trauma survivor, and we can all relate to this, everyone has had trauma, little t trauma, big T trauma, it doesn't matter. I just didn't understand the magnitude and the pressure I put on myself to just try and pretend that everything was okay when everything was falling apart. And I think it was a trauma response that I had to have this perfect persona. I had to have this mask on. My first marriage, I was a trophy wife. It took really having my NDE to realize I had it all wrong. I had it all wrong. I was so hard on myself for shit that was out of my control, which led to my own mental health issues, which led to other issues, which affected my mental health. And it made me think, okay, it happened to my mom, happened to other members of my family, the people in the general public. There's such a stigma. Why? Where's the compassion?
And there is, and there is none is the problem so many people find. I think as we become more educated on the impact of trauma, like some people will say, oh, I'm trauma aware. Well, being aware of it and being informed of it are like two completely different things, as you know.
Yeah.
And so when I started my practice 13 years ago, it was after working with people with mental health histories, with substance abuse histories, children in the school system who couldn't function in like a normal school setting because of the mental health and substance abuse piece. And it was like blatantly obvious to me that it's a mind, body, spirit thing. It needs to be all three. You can't treat one and expect the others, right, to get better. And so as a nurse and someone now who has like such a strong voice and such an advocate, it's exciting to me because you have the ability to kind of send the message, get that message out there by simply sharing your story.
Just by sharing. Books don't teach. But I don't care how many degrees you have, how many letters after your name. For me, what I survived empowers me. And I'm looking at other people, and I couldn't look in the mirror and see the light that is now shining through me from inside until I had to do the work, process my trauma. I did the work. I've been in trauma therapy now for 3 years. I consistently do the work. And I feel people are too afraid I mean, who wants to open up Pandora's box? And I have to be completely honest. If it wasn't for my NDE, I would not have the courage and strength right now, because I did not believe in a God. I just had so much trauma. I was one of those broken little people. I was never a victim, but inside I was. But it wasn't until I got that clarification and I'm like, oh my God, God loves me exactly how I am, with all my horrible flaws and things that I beat myself up for. And I'm like, badass bitch. That's
You
it.
are.
She is a badass
You
bitch.
are.
And someone
Beautiful one.
on our show that calls herself the Champagne Chakra, and she made her entire career about just the one phrase that you said. I had to appear like I was all together,
Fuck.
right? Like I was all perfect on the outside. And what she said is as I interviewed women, they were really unhappy. I was really unhappy with this whole like facade, and that's part of what inspired us to do the show, was that, we do the work, we preach doing the work, we live in the work, but
Right.
sometimes it's a shitstorm, and there's nothing wrong with saying, it's a shitstorm right now.
So I call it glitter shit. So I say I turned my horse shit, which was a lot of shit, into glitter shit. So I magically transform my trauma, because now when I look in the mirror, no shame, no blame, no regret. I'm just like, you are beautiful. Even when I have no makeup on, smelling for 5 days, going camping in the woods, that is when I'm the most beautiful. And it's because I did the work.
I need to get there. I haven't quite gotten the 5 day. Well, even the camping thing is a stretch for me. But whatever. We're not going to. Way ahead of the game on that one for me. Way ahead.
I love that though. The chakra. I call my residents. I teach Zumba, and I incorporate chakra dancing, and they call me Chakra Charo. So I have the coochie coochie
yeah,
coo.
I love that.
I do the coochie coochie woo.
Coochie coochie woo.
I love that.
Are you going to do? Are
Okay,
you doing it virtually, or are you doing it in person?
I do both.
I think we got to go to one of your classes. Can you pop in on a class?
Dance out of the depression. Dance your way out of the depression. Depression is.
Okay.
I get some really depressed moments, and I know when my chakras are not. So I do a little bit of chakra dancing, even if I'm in bed and can't move that day. A little bit, and I'm like, oh, that energy is moving, and it's like, ta-da!
Even the way she said, "Woo!" I like
my magic wand.
But that's the point, though, right? I don't think you have to be good at it. I think you just have to allow your body to.
Have to, even if you look like Elaine from Seinfeld. Who gives a shit?
I am Elaine from Seinfeld. I look like Elaine from Seinfeld.
You do.
I dance like Elaine from Seinfeld. Come on, are you gonna do it?
I dance like Elaine from Seinfeld.
You can't see me kicking my leg out. But anyway. All right.
So I have to say though, my only saving grace is my residents. Half of them are like 95 and they can't see, so it really doesn't matter as long as they're.
Come on, Diane, we're ready.
Okay, we'll go.
That's accept us.
Yeah,
I'll bring y'all back to life.
Tape some of it for ourselves. I'm just tape us doing it.
Yeah.
No,
and we'll have to
and then load it.
Air that. Everyone out there would want to see such a thing.
Yes,
absolutely.
It's so much fun. So much fun.
I want to dress like Jane Fonda. That's what I'm
killing it. Jane Fonda is killing it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, the 80 for Brady movie that just came out. I'm looking at all of these amazing women, like Lily Tomlin and
Rita Moreno.
She's
91 years old. Wearing leopard pants. Like she's again, mindset. Happy is as happy does. If you wake up thinking you're going to be depressed, you're going to be, but wake up. And just, you got to see, and again, with my NDE, I wasn't like this before, but you got to see the bigger picture. There's so much more. What we're living in right now, the depression, the anxiety, the mental health crisis, everything that's happening, go here. Answers are here. Go within. Quiet, silence.
When you talk about the mental health crisis, what strikes you the most?
God, hopefully I'll get through this without crying.
If you cry, it's okay.
The neglect and the abuse and the mistreatment and the not understanding. My mom right now is stuck in a mental hospital. We haven't spoke to a nurse in a week.
Oh, how horrible.
It is and I have been screaming and screaming and screaming. And I was a nursing supervisor before. I've worked with the board. I mean, I understand this is wrong in so many ways. And for me, I at least have a voice. I'm educated though. In the mental health field, I'm educated. Most people don't know. I
Mhm.
literally called the hospital the other day and I said, I want to speak to the director of nursing now. We don't have that. You're telling me the case manager is in charge of this whole hospital. She's the director. And of course I started bitching. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me. And it got me pissed off and it made me realize at least I know where to go with this. Most people don't.
Mhm.
So these people that have family members in institutions and in hospitals are sitting at home at the mercy of people too overwhelmed, overstressed. And as a nurse, it's hard because I understand nurses, we do the best we can.
Absolutely.
Right.
But the problem I'm seeing now is there are people that need to get out of the friggin' healthcare field. Get out. People that want just the paycheck and bring in people that are compassionate,
Mhm.
people that actually care, because it's not happening. And that's why I had to leave. I cannot be a part of that profession in that way anymore. I can't do it. It's
And
heartbreaking to me.
I'm sure that COVID
Oh,
Yeah.
took what was already an overwhelmed
horrible.
and exhausted system and, set gasoline to
Mhm.
that, and for all those medical providers out there, mental health care providers out there, like, thank you for what you do. For those that really
Yes.
come into it from
Yes.
that heart space,
Sending you love.
love,
Much
and
love.
appreciation, but you're right. There are a lot of people who maybe it's not their real calling, right? I believe that we're all a product of our soul's calling to do something.
Yeah.
Whether we heed that call or not is
Right.
completely different. If you said to me, could you do any other job in the world, what job would that be? I really don't know. I mean, I really believe that this has always kind of been my calling. It took me a while to get there through different
Right.
doorways and windows, but I
Of
kind of got,
course.
and I believe that's true for you, Stacey, in hearing
Mhm.
how you talk and what you've developed for yourself, and the same for Diane. Sometimes it comes later in life for some of us. Some people know right out of the womb, this is my calling and this is what I'm going to do. I have a friend named Lewis.
Aw.
Swear to God, since we were in the sandbox together, he's like, I'm going to be a surgeon. I was like, okay. And my goodness, on that path, he continued to follow relentlessly with 100%. And he's very successful, and
Wow.
I think back, like, wow, to be that insightful and aware at that age and just like have that knowing. Most of us don't have that. We
No.
figure it out as we
Right.
go. Nursing, though, I'm assuming was your passion because you wanted to help people or heal people, or no?
I'm still figuring out why. I've been in healthcare for almost over 30 years, and I never, ever, ever felt, I just felt that emotion that I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing, because I was always overwhelmed. I was always stressed out and always listening to corporate bullshit. I never had the autonomy to really embrace the skills and figure out why the hell am I here? So yeah, I knew I was being called when I was 19. My path changed. One person, her name was Dorothy, changed my path. And I was like, why am I doing this? And I truly believe the night of my ND, when God, all the pieces in my puzzle made sense, I looked at my husband when I woke up that morning and I'm like, everything just fucking makes sense now. Everything makes sense. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't see it back then because, nursing it taught me probably the most about life, because that profession is known as you either sink or swim. It taught me how strong I was. Maybe I know too much now. Maybe that's why I can't go back to it. I'm very grateful for the lessons I learned, but I can't go against my heart right now. And my heart is like, it's time to say goodbye. I can't do it anymore. I can't. My heart is like this, talking, sharing, meeting people, building community. That's what I'm passionate about. I've never had that like, ooh, this is my calling in nursing. No, never.
So it was a stepping stone.
Stepping stone to get exactly where I am right now. Mm-hmm.
And for all those people out there who are in that stepping stone phase, you're in good company. We all start somewhere. It's the process of figuring that out.
And your path can change.
Absolutely, at any
fine.
time.
All the time. And if you're around people that get mad at you for changing your friggin' mind, walk away from them. Wish them love and light. I said to this the other day, I actually just got a new truck, and I walked into the bank, and we just started having a conversation, and I said something, and she was talking about the general public and how people are just come to the bank and they're nasty. And she's like, I feel it's hard to be kind. And she's like, what do you do? Because I told her I was a Reiki master. I'm like, oh, darling, tell them to fuck off, but always say namaste. Always say namaste. This way you're putting love and light into the universe, but you're saying goodbye to those people.
And
don't let it get to you.
What's interesting is when we first started our podcast, I have a tendency to throw out a few words that people would be like, that's not very spiritual. That's not very, and I'm like, it's not, but it's real.
It's
right?
fucking real.
And I think to be spiritual, you have to be real. You have to be open to everything and everyone and how it presents and how it shows up without judgment, all of the above. Like Diane and I started a book group for people who've been following some of the books out there in Katie's series for Soulful
Valley. Yeah.
Soulful Valley Publishing. Thank you. And so we called it FU University, Females United University, of course, but
you have to join it.
Yes,
I have to.
Or come speak at it, or be an author, or both, right?
Do both.
And so, we play on things like FU or whatever. I think spirit has a sense of humor.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, it does, right?
God loves me in my hot messiness. And if I hear one more time, how can you say you're spiritual and say fuck? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, seriously, that's when you're aligned with source, because God is the only one who judges me. God, spirit, Buddha, Allah, Roger, Ralph, whatever you want to call your higher power, it doesn't matter. But I know at the end of the day, if I can look in the mirror and I'm proud of what I did and what I said, and I knew my intentions were pure, bye-bye. Bye-bye. I don't care. It feels good too. Fuck therapy. Fuck.
And I said, it's like being a freedom fighter, and it's worth fighting for. Yes. Right? It is worth fighting for our own freedom, our freedom in our heart, our freedom in our body. We all get there in our own unique way. And yours has definitely been a unique path. No question. Oh. No question. So before we leave, and sadly our time's up, if you can believe that, anything you want to say, any wisdom you want to impart, anything you feel like maybe we didn't ask about?
So I would say, especially since we're, probably targeting, mainly trauma survivors, release that inner child inside of you, that little boy or girl who has been suffering for so long. Mine was silenced for 45 years. Release them, and start seeing life through their eyes, and life will become magical. I'm reliving my childhood through my inner child, her, Anastasia. I'm reliving my childhood, and I don't care. So please take it upon yourself. If you can't heal yourself, look inside and release and start healing that inner child. Start there.
And that's really beautiful, because as a therapist who deals in trauma quite a bit, I do work that I call parts therapy, but traditionally when you hear parts therapy, people think of like dissociative identity or what used to be called multiple person. No, we all have those inner child wounds. We all have those parts that need to be honored and spoken to. And when you say release, it could also mean acknowledging and loving that child through, right? Yes. And so how powerful, reparenting, learning to align, learning to give to that child as you, the adult parent, to that inner child. It's complicated work, but it's beautiful work, right? The most beautiful work that you can do. And so for those of you out there who are like, this is foreign to me, this is the first time I'm hearing this, it sounds strange. There's a lot of skilled therapists out there who do this work, do it beautifully, and so releasing it on your own part, it's really tough, because sometimes there's so many layers of the invisible,
right?
But I love that you've done that work, that you found in your own way, in your own wisdom to do that.
Well, it took 2 years of therapy before I could. Like I only released her about probably a year ago. So it took 2 years of therapy to get to the point where I was like, inner child, what is this horse shit?
Yeah,
Again,
that's
I'm
usually
like
the
this.
first reaction.
And it's
Yeah.
scary work. It can be scary. So it's good to have.
Looking in the mirror,
Yeah.
exactly, at
Yeah.
your darkest, deepest wounds. And if you can love yourself through all of that, I figured I can handle anything that life has thrown at me. Yeah.
And I know one of I think I was in therapy once and they're like, well, just talk to your inner child, just give her a hug. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But now, as I've done a lot of healing, now I get it. And I do, I do that.
It's very awkward in the beginning, but I get it. You
Yeah.
have to,
And
though.
it's important. And now I understand what parts therapy is.
Right. And I
Yeah.
call it that. I think
like
there's like
that.
a family system. I think now that more and more like family systems therapy, talking about like all the different
IFS. Yeah.
I don't know. I've been doing this for like 13 years. So before it even had a name or something, I just was like these wounded parts of ourselves that hold all the pain, that holds all of the conflict, that hold the confusion, the insecurity.
Yeah.
It's like until that child feels safe enough to have a voice, really is what we're talking at the very core. Safe enough to feel safe, one, and to have a voice too.
Amen.
How can the adult move forward in their lives and that adult self with any kind of certainty or self-assurance? It's impossible to repeat the same cycles.
Yeah. And if you're afraid of therapy, you're not going to get there. You cannot do this on your own. You'll be an alcoholic, a drug addict. You will be so freaking traumatized. You're numbing your pain. You have to start somewhere, but people are so afraid of therapy. The BetterHelp, it's like $39 a month. The people that I can't afford it. Yeah, you can. You can do whatever it takes. If you're willing to do the work, the pieces will align. But I think everyone should at least look into therapy, just something to start healing, because the world is broken. It's broken.
And if your first shot at a therapist, if it's not a good match, I always say it's like shoe shopping.
Exactly.
Like your therapist has to be the right style. It's got to be comfortable to go for the long haul, walking in this for a while. And if it's not, that's okay. Shop around. Find someone else that is the right fit.
You have to. Let me tell this real quick, because this is a story that I think so many people are going to resonate with. So a couple of years ago, when I was all about Jesus, I would do anything to find peace. So I was going through a crisis. Okay, nervous breakdown, whatever we want to call it. I don't care anymore. So I got Aetna's EAP program. I'm like, I need help now before I go psychotic. So I was aligned with a therapist, and I said, it has to be a Christian therapist. She's still my therapist to this day.
I love that.
But it took God knows how many to find, but I also wasn't ready. I was ready to heal, and God aligned the right person. And for 3 years, she's been my savior. So
well, bless her.
Yeah.
Bless her.
And you just, like you said, you have to be ready.
You have to be ready, or you're wasting your friggin' time. Don't pacify anyone else. If you can look in the mirror and say, I'm ready today, start at least.
And also, don't waste the therapist's time. Or your
Reiki master.
Your healer.
Or the Reiki master. Yes. Amen, guys. Yes.
Yeah.
Your alternative healer.
If you're coming in to heal, only to say, I'm looking for the approval or acceptance of my lies and my bullshit. Right? That is not healing. That is asking us to enable your behavior, and the skilled person, especially those that are intuitive and already are in the know and really understand.
And have been through their own shit.
Yeah, are going to call you out on it. Now, if you're willing to stay, good. You've met your match. If you think that like continuing on that path is somehow therapy, like you said, it's a waste of time. And it's also a waste of the precious resources for so many people who really want to get well. Like you were saying, we're in such a deficit at this point.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
So now, Stacey, for the folks out there who are like, they hear your story, they just maybe want to take a class, how could they find you?
So right now, the only thing I'm doing is Instagram, Stacey_Piedrahita. My partner, David, lives in the UK. He's a Reiki master. We actually started Golden Zen Kundalini last year. So we are kind of rebranding, and we're going to be only doing magical meditation. So we do hypnotic meditations. In one session, it's life-changing. We meet the inner child and we heal from there. So people can reach out on Instagram. because our book right now, well, you could look goldenzenkundalini.com, but right now our website is down. We're rebranding. So yeah, so we're only doing magical meditations. So right now, probably Instagram. I might be getting back on Facebook. I still kind of hate people. So I'm limiting to, who I allow my,
Yeah.
light and energy.
We're glad you came to see us.
negative. You're just liking the negative people that are intruding on your work.
Exactly. So I'm like, bye-bye, namaste, bitches. Love you. Fuck you. Namaste.
Well, we hope you come join. We're starting Females United Book Club April 4th. So I'm going to get
I'm
that
there.
information out to you.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love
I'm
it.
there.
So F you. We'll see you soon.
This was awesome. Thank you, girls. This was awesome. I loved
You are
it.
fun. You are a light. Keep doing what you're doing. And
The
thank you
world
again.
needs you.
And I'm sure Diane will include your information
we will,
and what
everyone.
for everyone listening. So for those of you out here, we're two Italian women.
And the stories we tell.
Much love
Much
to you
love.
all. And thank you, Stacey.
Thank you, Stacey.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye.